Hello and welcome back to the podcast Mawson Bear and his furry friends. This is Mawson over here holding a book. You can see some furry friends behind us, and I'm holding another book called Chubby's Tale that I'm going to talk about in a minute. These two books are by a writer called Carola Schmidt, and Carola is a pediatric oncology pharmacist. It's a mouthful, but it's a very important job, and it means in short that she knows a lot about helping very sick children, especially those who are suffering from that awful sickness, cancer. And she's written these little books to help young people, cubs and their families, just to understand what they're going through. For instance, she wrote this book, When a Brave Bear Fights Cancer. And we're very proud of that book ourselves because our bears are in it. But this is another book by Carola. And this story is about a teddy who lives in a toy shop hoping to be taken home, and his name is Chubby. And that's a picture of him, little Chubby. And one day he doesn't feel well. He's sitting there on the shelf and he talks to Superhero about it. Superhero, of course, does the right superhero thing and says, Chubby, go and see a doctor. So Chubby sets off all across the store, but it's a big store. Fortunately, there's a little yellow car that he can ride in. And eventually he finishes up with Dr. Doll. There's some adventures on the way. And he meets Dr. Doll, who gets right to work and diagnoses him. And unfortunately, poor Chubby has got leukemia. Dr. Doll explains all about what's happening with the blood cells in a very simple way so that Chubby can understand. And I'm sure our children can understand, and for that matter, I learnt a great deal from Dr. Doll's quite clear explanation. I feel I know a bit more about it now, thanks to this little book. Eventually, Chubby gets treatment from all the toys in the store helping him, and he gets chemotherapy and returns to his shelf. But the chemotherapy has made some of his fur fall out, and now he's all patchy. And although he's feeling better, he's very worried that perhaps no one will love him. Well, I think if you read this little story, you'll not only learn a bit more about leukemia and hopefully help a child to do so as well, but also find out what happens to Chubby. We recommend this book. It's simply told. It's got lovely little illustrations, and it's quite educational with little diagrams and lovely pictures. That's all from Mawson and me today, from Mawson and his Furry Friends podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcast, and more. Until next time.